I think it's currently safe and appropriate to say that we've all been guilty of this particular mess. In this social media age, we are always going to be exposed to the grandeur and mischiefs of other people around the world. We've never felt so connected before, yet we've also never felt so out of touch with the physical manifestation of our own individual lives. Just because we're spending more of our times daily immersing ourselves and worrying about what other people are doing. What they're eating, where they're going, who they're hanging out with, what activities they're doing, what countries they've been to, what they're wearing, how they're looking, who they're dating, etc. Literally endless classifications and categorizations that you can name. And I guess at some point when we're eventually overwhelmed by all the insecurities and indignations that we've created and accumulated for ourselves through being captivated by other people's collection of merit, we will inevitably question ourselves, why the fuck are we still doing it? Why the hell are we still spending 8 to 10 hours a day scrolling through social media and making ourselves feel even more miserable for the day before we went to bed, even when we know that it is bad for us to do so? Well, gentlemen, the simple answer is because you've been utterly plugged into the world of self-esteem porn, and just like regular porn, nearly everything is escalated and manipulated. This urge to extensively consume these idealistic portrayals comes from a place of significant level of lack due to the sense of fear, laziness, incapability, impatience, dissatisfaction, and unavailability or inaccessibility to manifest our desires into physical demonstrations. We just want to feel somehow hastily stimulated to satiate our own desperate and convoluted emotions. We watch porn because we are either fearful, lazy, incapable, impatient, unsatisfied, and/or in shortage of real-life physical intimacy. Similarly, we pay too much attention to other people's lives online because we are either too fearful, lazy, incapable, impatient, unsatisfied, and/or seemingly insufficient to become the main star or the main protagonist in our own lives, pursuing and experiencing both physically and mentally cultivating endeavors. That is why, again, just like porn, you ended up making the deliberate choice to stimulate yourselves impulsively and precipitously through experiencing them from other people's point of view, because you are lacking and/or unable to experience them yourselves. Now, having said all of that, the main question and also the most crucial question you should be asking yourselves is not why am I doing it or why can't I stop doing it. Instead, it should be how is it going to be beneficial for me and my circumstances if I keep doing it. You must shift your attitude from a bemoaning and dubious perspective into an acquisitive and uncharitable perspective. In other words, be selfish. And let's not pretend to be good little boys here, shall we? Doing self-improvement in general is all about how each specific endeavors that we are doing can benefit or cultivate both our present and future circumstances. For our own sake. Self-improvement is a selfish path, and your point of view must originate from your own objective judgments that fulfills your best interests. So objectively speaking, you can now ask yourselves, how is paying attention to other people's lives going to be beneficial for me and my circumstances if I keep doing it? Pause the video and think about that carefully for a second and try to answer it as objectively as possible. If you are struggling to answer that question, then let me answer it for you. Because if you ask me, aside from trying to establish new legitimate business connections or network, which are quite rare, and being able to partially help in revitalizing or clarifying your competitive drive should you be able to properly utilize the emotions that you get from your insecurities, I literally don't see anything more useful or beneficial or purposeful you can get from doing it. There is absolutely minimal ROI for most of the time, and worst of all, you are exhausting the most precious commodity and resource that you have, your time. And we all know time does not add. Once you lose it forever. So just try to calculate the amount of time that you spend sitting or lying down going through literal portfolios of people's documented moments that you could instead use to make your life just that little bit better every day. Which one would you prefer in your quote-unquote self-improvement journey? So again, objectively speaking, it shouldn't be your business because it is none of your business. Apart from your own family members, one person's life is their own concerns to account and their own blessings to enjoy, and so is yours. So keep it that way. Too much paying attention to or immersing yourselves diligently in other people's lives puts you in a very disadvantageous position where you will eventually start to subconsciously and involuntarily live your life in accordance to other people's terms and metrics. It's a natural response due to our instinct to conform as social beings, where you start to do things because other people are doing them, wear clothes because other people are wearing them, go to places because people went there before, so on and so forth. And it does not apply only to your friends or random people you've met, but it also applies to the people you are currently aspiring from, celebrities, athletes, and other people of both great credibility and publicity. If you pedestalize or idolize them too much, you start to morph yourselves to live in their shadows. Again, doing what they do, saying what they say, wearing what they wear, and acting how they act. You are literally becoming the cheap knockoff or rip-off version of that individual, trying desperately to become exactly like them, which you never will, and emulate their way of life, which you may not entirely prefer. It's not a bad thing at all to take aspirations from people. In fact, you need it to make circumstances clearer for you to assess and judge. But don't try to entirely replicate them. Cherry pick those traits, the ones that you like the most and the ones that you can relate and associate with the most. Put your own twist on them and apply them to your own life so that they can help you manifest your own specific desires relative to your own individual circumstances. Don't be a total mimic. Don't live predominantly or entirely in other people's shadows. Create your own character and lifestyle from which you can make it simpler and clearer to envision and pursue by aspiring from other people, but not obsessing or fixating on trying to become exactly like them. It's like one man said during his prime, winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. Thank you for watching.